discussing more of today's top stories with Ashley and Mercy. Now, the next one we're coming to, I'm already waiting. The swimming and diving commentator, Bob Ballard, lost his spot as commentator for the Olympics after he said the Australian freestyle female relay team were late to leave the swimming venue because they were doing their makeup. This, as we are all aware, has caused a lot of outrage. He's lost his spot now, but he is defending himself. He actually spoke to Carol Vorderman on LBC. We've got a little clip of what he said.
It was a throwaway line. It was, you know, some people might say it's a bit old-fashioned. Bob, you're an old geezer, whatever. It was never meant to offend. It was never meant to upset anybody. I think there's been a massive overreaction from my employers, and I'm obviously dealing with it as best I can right now.
Hi.
Hi.
What do you think?
I think it's an overreaction, I have to admit. I mean, it's bad. It was poor form, I agree. And, of course, we need to do everything we can to make sure women feel included in sport. My daughter's a very keen swimmer, so, you know, yes, I can understand how it's quite demeaning. But it is a bit of an overreaction, I think. I mean, you know, when I first read the story and I first heard he'd said a sexist comment, I was genuinely expecting something, you know, completely rogue. Not something like, oh, they're just doing their makeup. I think, it landed badly. He shouldn't have said it. But to kind of sack him, I think, is a bit of an overreaction. But, yeah, I think he's learnt his lesson.
I think, look, the problem with, like, sexism and casual misogyny is that it's so ingrained in society, it seems really trivial. So it's like, of course it's just banter. Of course it's just a joke. But number one, it's completely offensive to all the amazing female athletes that we're seeing in the Olympics. Like, people who are literally at the top of their game. This is their life, this is their livelihood. They are incredible. Like, I've loved the Olympics this year. I don't know what it is about this year, but it's just...
It sort of hooked us all, isn't it?
Amazing.
Yeah.
And so when you have a man that not only is trivialising women, trivialising sport, it's also sending a message out to people saying, like, women are less deserving, less capable. They're not real, oh, they're late because they're just, you know, doing trivial female things. And you're kind of putting women and femininity and female things below men. And that has a knock-on impact to men as well, because any man who is remotely feminine, and it's this idea of, like, toxic masculinity, of, like, you know, man up, mate, so men feel like they can't show their feminine emotions. So I think, like, it's really hard because on this scale it is very trivial and very casual, but we have to start taking sexism seriously and stop brushing it off as banter and a joke, because it's not. Because even when you look at more extreme things like Wayne Couzens, David Carrick, they were allowed to hide in plain sight because their jokes were sexist and misogynistic. It's not. They are. Of course they're related.
Actually, do you think...
Of course they are related.
Do you think he needed to lose his job, or do you think he could have apologised?
Well, the problem is
he's kind of sort of accepted that it wasn't the right way to handle it and, you know, explain himself.
I'm not a fan of cancel culture. I think we can all say things that we unknowingly say that are offensive, and I think we should all be given the platform to learn and apologise 100%. But I do think they have to show that we don't tolerate misogyny, we don't tolerate trivialising female sport. And actually, he went onto LBC defending himself. I think it would have been a really good opportunity for him to have said, do you know what, it was trivial.
I think when we focus on things like this, what it does is actually almost trivialise the word sexism, the word misogyny. It's like when people call things racist when they're clearly not, and then the term racist starts losing its meaning, and we should be reserving words like sexist, words like misogyny, which, of course, like, nobody condones it. No normal-headed person would condone actual sexism and misogyny. But I think when we start calling things like this sexism and misogyny, I think it dilutes the meaning of the word.
Even if there's a scale, it is sexist. It is a sexist comment.
To pick up on Rochelle's question, if you give him the opportunity to apologise and you show him where he's gone wrong, I think human nature dictates he's far more likely to be quite contrite there. If you sack him, it gives him the opportunity to double down and therefore become more entrenched in his position, which helps no one.
And I don't necessarily think he should like lose his job forever. I think they did need to take a stand because also, bear in mind, these athletes are probably hugely offended by his words. So I think they do need to show, like, we do not tolerate sexism in sport. We do not tolerate these like archaic stereotypes. Do I think he needs to lose his job forever? No. Do I think there are worse things? Yes, like the fact there is an Olympian who
is a child abuser.
Yes, well, we spoke about that yesterday.
Exactly. So in the grand scheme of things, of course there is a scale, and of course this is on the trivial end of the scale, but we have to look at all of these things, and I would like for him to take accountability and realise that why his words have impact. But do I think he should be sacked forever? Of course not, no.
He's apologised,
He has apologised. He's apologised, yes. Obviously, he went on to Carol's show to defend himself, but he has also apologised. It is an interesting one, like you say, in light of what we were mentioning yesterday. It's kind of make it make sense a little bit.
Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the morning.